Good morning.
Good morning. What would you like to talk about?
Why don't we talk about the state of the world?
Well, what a coincidence. Because the world is in a state, and we asked people on Facebook to give us topics, and the current events are really important, and people are asking what's going on with this transition and how long will it take and what's your view, our view of on the other side of it.
Okay, it'll be all done by January 14th at about 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no problem. So, in a lot of ways, for everybody particularly playing and mastering alchemy, we've been saying for a couple of years this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've been saying more specifically, starting at 2020, you're going to see a disruption. And so let's put it in the context of that. And we said this transition is really a kind of a division that's occurring, where that 3D world that deals in domination and greed and imposition and war and all those kind of things, that's in the process of dissolving. But dissolving doesn't mean it just goes away. Dissolving simply means everything has to bubble up to the surface and then be neutralized or simply dissipate.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're watching in the world is exactly that. And so issues like racism and issues like inequalities among people, inequity in terms of the 1% owning 90%, all of that can't continue. And so you start to look at institutions. There is no institution that is not broken, whether it's education or judicial systems, just social services, etc. So you're watching that being disrupted. At the same time, that opportunity to begin to be more quiet and into yourself and introspective is expanding in a lot of people's space.
That's what people are saying, that because they're now homebound, they're
Mhm.
working at home, they're not, going out and socializing. There's some people who are having a hard time with it, but a lot of the people that we talk to, they're saying, I like this.
Yeah, and one of the things, the amount of people who say, I've turned my television off.
Yeah.
Huge. See, there's no value in that television. All it is noise talking about something that's happened, but it doesn't talk about either solution or opportunity, and it very seldom talks about all of the well-being that's coming about. So it creates this disruptive anxiety in people's space, mostly unconscious disruptive anxiety. So that's all coming to the surface also. So you're just watching this interruption. And one of the things about people that have tools is the ability to really clearly start to make a decision. Is this about me, or is this just the noise that's moving kind of through my space? And then those that are playing with defining the edge of their aura on the rose, all of a sudden it's just simply moving around you. It's not even really in your space. And that's the place where it's really optimistic, listening to people basically saying, gee, it's not bothering me. I'm quieter. And it's different because I'm not socializing due to coronavirus. But mostly it's I'm recognizing a change. And if you ask any people, do you really think this is going to go back to something that it was before? The immediate response often is, well, I hope so. We should get back to normal.
Right.
But if you say, well, do you think there's going to be a return to normal? Everybody recognizes we've moved past something. I keep talking about this reset has occurred. It's not something coming. It's happened. You're living in it and through it, and it's now moving into a whole nother configuration.
So when we're on the other side of it, and maybe there's a vaccine and the economy is starting up again, and people are moving about more, how do you see it, the new normal?
Well, let's take that by pieces. So one of the things that is the coronavirus is all about, so talking from where I talk about things, the coronavirus is very magnetic, and it's attracted to fear. Pure and simple, it's attracted to fear. Now, try to make that into a conversation with somebody in a television interview. They wouldn't get it at all, and they would think it was a stupid thing to say. But for everybody listening here, if you really think about it, that it's a magnetic field that is attracted to fear. So many of the people we keep asking in Mastering Alchemy, do you know anybody? Are you affected by it? Is your family affected by it? And the few times that people say, yes, there is a challenge, my family, whatever, friends, asking them, well, what's their personality like? They will tell you, well, they're fearful, they worry about everything, they never have enough, and somebody's always at fault other than them. And so you've got this magnet attracting north-south poles. There's an aspect also where there is a huge shift in consciousness that happens all the time with generations. What was very clear and acceptable to this generation, like my parents didn't understand me. We don't understand our kids, that kind of mindset. Generations are constantly flowing in change, one by one by one, but what the generation that's holding on to that status quo to a great extent isn't moving. And one of the things that I'm speculating is a lot of people that in that elderly age particularly that are coming down with coronavirus, they live a particular lifestyle. Clearly we know that they're generally unhealthy, immune systems aren't working, and there's a lot of lack that seems to be in many of the people's spaces. That whole generation holds a set of beliefs that just are not compatible with movement of change coming up into other generations. Now, is that a truth? No, it's not a truth. Is it a noticed observation? Yeah. Is it accurate? I don't know, but it seems to have some accuracy.
Well, there's got to be people out there who are not in fear, who are being affected by it.
There are, and this gets into a whole nother topic, particularly elderly people. A massive amount of people, well, let me say it this way, this shift is changing vibrationally significantly. You are basically stepping into an incredibly different new environment in the next 10, 15, 20 years. Very, very different than anything that you've experienced. There is no going back to an old normal. In that difference, now talking spiritually, a tremendous amount of beings are very spiritual, but one of the things that they are aware of is, and you hear them say it in many of the conversations we have, I can't make these changes. I can't do what you're suggesting. I'm just really angry at my daughter, my husband, my parents, my whatever, and I'm stuck in this and I can't forgive them, I can't forgive myself, I can't step out of this place. And so on a spiritual level, they're really saying, I want to help, but I can't do it from this very stuck place I am. And so you're seeing a very large percentage of the world population stepping out of the body. They're leaving, they're dying, they're going away. They're just simply stepping to the other side of the game and supporting from that place. If you look at the death numbers in counties in the United States and then begin to speculate that out into the world or extrapolate it into the world, a lot of people are dying, but it's not something that you see in the news every day. So this generational change, this movement into something new is happening in a lot of different levels. So is it going to go back to normal? No, I'm not even sure what normal was beforehand.
And would you even want to go back to normal?
Right.
Going to work in traffic or commuting, and there's a lot of uncomfortable things that everyone was doing that now that they're not doing it, they're realizing, well, there's a greater appreciation for simplicity. I think I'm noticing.
And that built-up tension people hold, knowing it or not knowing it. One of the things where I was wrong, I thought pretty clearly this housing market that's been just kind of going on a tear was going to really come to a stop. I mean, it was like, yeah, that's the only way that's going to... I didn't figure in that all the people who live in cities that now are starting to recognize I can work from home and I don't have to cross the George Washington Bridge going from New Jersey or coming from Connecticut into New York. And city into city, massive traffic, massive congestion. The Bay Area, people sit on, an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to work, coming and going. And all of a sudden they're saying, I can do this from my bedroom.
I can live anywhere I want.
And the numbers are already showing up. The housing purchases and housing contracts that are being signed are like 6% higher than they were at the peak of before coronavirus. And all that is people moving out of the city. It's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. And so you're seeing this really rapid change in that configuration. That extrapolates into lots of places where people are realizing, I don't have to do what I've done that I've treated as normal.
Well, and what I've noticed is just walking around the neighborhood, there's a lot more gardening than there used to be. There's brand new raised beds and attention put on growing their own food.
Right. And the other thing is there are a lot more people out on the street where we live, and they're walking up and down the street, and they're very comfortable saying, hello, hey, nice to see you. There's no, I don't know you.
Right.
It's very engaging.
Well, it's like we're all in the same experience. We're all in the same pickle, in the same boat. We're having this common experience that can bind.
Right.
Or bond people.
So the piece, though, that is making this interesting, and we can talk about this, maybe next week, let's talk about Park Bench and where that's going with the positive. But this division, there's a lot of people who are very much going into fear. Their status quo is interrupted. They've lost their job. They don't have income. And they are very focused on that. And there's a lot of other people that are realizing, I don't need to do it the same way I've done it. So that part of the world, the 3D part that we've come from, where this is how it's done, the rules are being broken. And just look at the Black Lives Matter event. On one hand, just like things like gun control, you have a mass shooting, you have everybody coming out going, we have to do something about this, and then it just simply dies away because nothing gets done. There's nothing different about this Black Lives Matter either. It's come up into the forefront and then settled back down, come up again, settled. This time it's not going to settle back down. This time it's pushed over that threshold where change is going to happen.
I was reading something today and they were saying the reason why it is different this time is because white people are getting it.
Yeah.
It's not just a brown, black person thing. White people are out in the streets.
Yeah, and I think white people have gotten it to an extent all along, but it's not high enough in their consciousness. It's a subconscious thing like, that's not good, and I should pay attention. And then it's like, I have to deal with climate change, or I have to deal with politics, see, one of the big challenges, I think, is that the average person, particularly a thinking average person, is overwhelmed with attention points. What's the issue of the day? And it's not one issue, it's 20 issues.
Right.
And you just get saturated in terms of, I don't know where to hold my attention or how to make a difference.
Yeah.
And this one pushed up above that saturation level, and it caught.
Yeah.
And it's going to be something different. And you're watching people take a look at, one of the media words is defunding police departments. But when you really listen to people talking about restructuring how everything's done, so defunding creates a black or white, a push or yes or no, where you start to say, wait, something's really wrong here.
It just needs to be restructured.
Let's talk about this. Let's figure it out. How do you get more money into serving people's well-being rather than threatening them with
Yeah.
So is the world going to get better? Absolutely. And there's one last point, so we don't talk too long here, is when everything is in status quo, it is extremely hard to create a change. Extremely hard. It's like, I understand what you're saying, but I don't have time for that. I have to go to the golf club or whatever. Here, when you get things that are in this really disruptive, opportunistic place, the place for change is huge. And so I think you're going to see very shortly, over the next couple of years, some things that were impossible in the normal.
Change only happens when there's discomfort.
Yep. And consciousness.
Yeah.
And we're beginning to be conscious. So we can talk about this on an ongoing basis.
Next week, let's talk about Park Bench.
Park bench is being extraordinarily successful.
Yes.
And yet, most people aren't seeing how it's being successful.
Yeah.
So we'll do that.
Okay, let's go eat.
All right.